This is huge for the Toronto Maple Leafs as they come back from a 3-0 deficit, and then come back from a 4-3 deficit late in the third on the back of Pontus Holmberg. And it doesn't stop there as an overtime. I mean, what an incredible display of goaltending by Anthony Stolarz. His stick is broken. Thank God that they were able to finish it off in the back of Mitch Marner. An unbelievable game, a huge game. The things keep on rolling. The positivity is up. There is a couple injuries, though, to Chris Tanev and William Nylander. Got to hope that they're okay, especially as the deadline approaches. But I think Willie's going to be fine. But we'll hear some updates hopefully during this stream as well as, for tomorrow. But Darius, an absolutely fantastic win. One of the biggest wins we've seen in a while. An incredible, not even an incredible game for the Leafs. One that they were looking really bad for a while. But the one that, you're able to get 1 point. I was happy. 2 points there is huge. They got the job done, and huge win. And it's another 2 points. They're now 3 points ahead of the Panthers.
Yeah, they needed this win. They needed to win this game. And the way that they came out, I was like, here we go again. You need to win this game and you're going to lose the game. But really gutsy comeback. I like that, the last half of the game there, even though, you look at the score or the shot total, it doesn't favor the Leafs. I thought that the first period was awful. Times in the second period were.
Hold on. I have you hidden here, so I'll get you in. Anyways, I'm going to continue to talk, Darius. He's invisible right now. I was a bit excited to go live. But, at this point, I think the biggest thing about this win as we get Darius in here is the fact that, like you mentioned, they were able to continue the grit, right? And I'll let you continue your thought here in a minute. Just the fact that they were able to come back in a hostile arena, one that we know they never play good in, and win the game was huge. But I'll let you continue here.
Yeah, on my 2025 bingo card was not Mitch Marner playing really well at TD Garden. That is for sure. And another big performance, 2 goals tonight, overtime winner. Looked a little bit lost in his own zone there in overtime, but it's okay. He scored. Anthony Stolarz, huge game. He's the reason they won this game. He gave them a chance to win. He kept them in the game when they weren't supposed to be in the game. And obviously there's lots of concern. Chris Tanev I'm more concerned about because Nylander obviously stayed on the bench. Didn't look like it was anything too serious, maybe some discomfort or something. But in terms of Chris Tanev, I'm a little worried about that. Didn't come back after that in the first period, and it was pretty early on. But all in all, great comeback. And yeah, it's gonna get interesting now. They're 3 points up, I believe, on the Panthers, so they have to keep this lead on the Panthers for first in the Atlantic.
Yeah, and an absolutely fantastic game. I don't know why I had that up, but the box score is up now. Here it is, and I think I had last game's impact scorecard. But look at the Nick. I don't know if that's an updated one. I don't know if that was the updated one. It may have been. Actually, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll get the updated one once it comes out as well. As it pertains to the box score here, again, Pontus Holmberg, fantastic. Mitch Marner, a solid game. But Nick Robertson, again, with an absolutely fantastic game. There's no way that was the right thing. But
Not. Yeah.
that was last time the game. That was last. I was about to say, Kirsten played 49 seconds, and he was number 2. We'll get the updated one in a minute. But, yeah, as it pertains to Nick Robertson, he's really been playing good hockey ever since I called him out a little bit on the channel. Pontus Holmberg, the 2 guys we thought were both going to be gone. I don't think a couple games going to change their philosophy necessarily, but Greg Berubé's rocking the same lineup day in and day out, and that's obviously potentially going to have to change now with Chris Tanev playing 49 seconds, right? 49 seconds. And that's, if he's out for any period of time, that immediately shifts their focus, I think, to getting another defenseman, which is very scary because Chris Tanev has probably been their best defenseman this year. But man, oh man, I really hope that Chris Tanev's okay. And because if he's out, it changes the landscape of not only the deadline, but everything going forward. But man, what a goal by Mitch Marner. What a game. Just an incredible game. One of the ones that you look back on a little bit, and it's great.
Morgan Riley and OEL with really strong games too. OEL came to play after Chris Tanev got hurt, right? And you knew that you were going to miss him for the entire game. So he really came to play. But this is kind of what we've been talking about, where I don't know if it's a priority. You talked about it in a video today where I don't know if it's their top priority to go out a defenseman. I think it's still a forward. But imagine and Chris Tanev is a warrior, man. He has played every game except for one this season, and obviously all of tonight except for 49 seconds. But he's a warrior, right? If he does get injured, for example, in the playoffs, your next option is Phil Myers now, right? So maybe you do go out and get another depth defenseman. Maybe Yanni Hakanpää's ready, but come on, we're in March and he hasn't played yet. So, or he's played 2 games, 3 games, something like that. So maybe they do pivot their focus here, but hopefully Tanev's okay. Maybe he was held out for precautionary reasons. We don't know exactly yet. Obviously, we'll get some clarity tonight or tomorrow, but not great that he didn't return after 49 seconds. And it looks like, the hit itself looked like he was not feeling well. And we know, again, he plays through a lot. Like he's played all season. At his age too, he's still like a bit of an Iron Man. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, we'll keep you up to date as it comes out. Soon we'll get a little bit of a comment after shortly, but probably a bigger update tomorrow. And hopefully Willie is okay. I mean, if both those guys are down, it could be very, very scary. If you're in here, let's try to get to 30 likes for the biggest Leafs win of the year. Probably one of the biggest ones so far. I mean, they're now, again, even bigger lead on the Panthers in the Atlantic Division. So it's a nice win.
Mitch Marner with also 12 points in 4 games against Boston this year. The Leafs have finished up their games against the Boston Bruins this year. 12 points in those 4 games, and they finished the season 3-1 against the Bruins, which is nice. But ultimately, I'd like to win a playoff series against them. But still nice. The little victories is cool. And Mitch Marner playing well in big moments, which is nice. But we will see come playoff time. We've been talking about him a lot the last couple of days, and we'll have to wait for playoff time to see what happens with that. But great. I think Robertson played really, really well the last 2 games. Last 3 games. I think he's played really well. Holmberg finally scored a goal with his stick, which I think is positive. So
Yeah.
I think that no, there's a lot to take away from this game in terms of like depth scoring, but Austin Matthews hasn't looked necessarily great. He was in and around it all night, 2 posts, right? But like he doesn't look like his dominant self.
The impact,
The impact's
level.
I sent it. I sent it to you.
I will grab it. Also, Morgan Riley, fantastic pass to Robertson on his goal there. Fantastic game from Morgan Riley. Good defensive play as well in the overtime period. I mean, eh, exciting. It's exciting. Team's looking
Yep.
good. I really hope they can stay healthy though, because I think they're probably the best team in the NHL right now. If the way that they're playing, maybe it's a bit of a homer take, but it's we're gonna rock it. Let's look at the impact score chart a little bit. This one makes a lot more sense, and you can see here. So OEL at the top, Morgan Riley. Yeah, I mean, basically Morgan Riley and OEL tied. You have Nick Robertson with a fantastic game, Max Domi, Matthew Nyes. Matthews looks really weird out there. Does not look very good at all. He looks like I don't know if he's hurt. He was absolutely exhausted. It's interesting, a little bit concerning, but I
Mhm.
mean, he did it the post as well a couple minutes before the Pontus Holmberg goal. So I think he'll be fine, but it's it's a big win. A huge ending too. Just they had to get the extra 2 points there as they start to inch closer and closer to the playoff run.
One thing I thought was interesting at the end of the game there is Marner was taken off the top line with Matthews, and they looked horrible tonight. And the advanced analytics speak for themselves. They were horrible in terms of team and team defense, offensively and defensively, I should say. Um, but Lawrence was put on the first line with Matthews and McMahon, and on top of that, like I just mentioned, McMahon was on the first line instead of Nyes. So there was a little bit of shifting. It's the same lineup, but there was some shifting of the lines tonight, which I thought was very interesting.
Yep.
Blake Sim, the 1399.
Blake with the 13. Thank you very much, Blake. Oh, we have the for all you who enjoy the music, you get an extra bit of music here. Blake with the 13.99. Horrible in the first, but we settled down in the third, and I'm happy for Holmberg to get that goal. And do you think they're going to go back and forth with the goalies, or have 1A go Leafs go? Blake, thank you so much for the 13.99. What's up, Eric? As well, we should get a post emoji for Matthews. Yeah, we need to. We're gonna get some more stuff going on here. Blake, I think they're still going to run back and forth. I think Stolarz had a bit of a rough start. Obviously, it was a 3-0 lead. Really clutch saves down the stretch, and especially in overtime. So this is a bad game for Stoli, and he still he did okay. He did his job out there. As it pertains to Holmberg, makes the decision maybe a little bit harder. I mean, if they keep running, if Berube runs this lineup every single game, it's going to be interesting to see who they take out when they acquire someone. Because I mean, Pontus is playing good hockey.
He's playing very well right now. And I mean, the thing going into the break was, can they even keep him around? Maybe they trade him. And I was saying, coming back from the break when we were previewing the game on Saturday, what is he going to do tonight? Like, what is he going to do? Because we know the top guys probably won't do much. What is he specifically going to do? And he's played fantastic since then. Although, keep in mind, he's playing on the second line, right? Like, if you put a guy like Lawrence, maybe not. Holmberg's a better player that I think than Lawrence in terms of offensive production. And he's a really smart hockey player. I can't take that away from Holmberg. He's actually really, really smart. You can see it out there. He makes some smart plays. But again, he's playing on the second line. So read into that what you will. I don't know what he's going to do on the third line if he was put back there, right? So good idea from Craig Berube, certainly working. But I just don't know. Maybe they keep him around. He's not making that much. Maybe they don't trade him just for the sake of trading him. But I don't know if he factors into the lineup come playoff time. And we just got some news today that like there's gonna be some moves at the deadline, man. There's gonna be a lot of movement. So I don't think the Leafs are gonna look necessarily the bottom six. At least they're gonna look the same in like a month or two's time.
We're also 10 likes away from 30. If you want to hit that like button for us, shout out to the 120 plus of you in here. A big win, and a big stream as a result. And yeah, I mean, hopefully Nylander's okay. Hopefully we hear from Craig Berube, all these different things. I mean, it is going to be, I'm going to hold my breath now in the meantime. Going to hold my breath and just hope that both of those guys are okay, especially Chris Tanev as well. And I mean, as they approach the trade deadline, if they continue to win, we already know they're going all in. They continue to win games like this and they play, their next game, they win their next game, they continue to roll. Not to jump ahead of ourselves, but this is like the team looks, even though they're sloppy at times, they're playing very good hockey. You have the Rangers on Friday, followed by the Penguins and the Sharks on a back-to-back, all winnable games, all of them. And again, we thought that this one was a bit of a trap game. It was looking like it for a bit. They come out and they get the job done. So it is absolutely incredible. Great shot as well, by Nick Robertson. A fantastic pass from Morgan Rielly. I think Rielly was the best player on the ice tonight. So it was, there's no complaints from me. Absolutely no complaints. They could play better for sure, but
I just wish like Robertson would do that more consistently. That's my only real ask with that player. I think he's just a great offensive player. Hey, what's up, Kirk from Bruins Digest in the chat? We beat you again.
Yeah.
Again. Although I know what you're gonna come back with, so it's okay. We can save that. You don't have to type it out. We know
another one.
Yeah, we know it's gonna come. But no, great performance from a couple of those guys. Morgan Rielly, great game. We mentioned that as well. Nick, smiley face. Bruins Digest. How dare you show your face in here, Bruins Digest? How dare you on a night like this? But at least you guys got a point. You might still make the playoffs, maybe. But like you were talking about, Nick, very winnable games coming up here. Pittsburgh looks horrible recently. They just lost 6-1 to the Flyers tonight. They lost to the Rangers the other night in a game where the fact that the Rangers won that is a disgrace. So the Rangers are not playing well either. You're playing the Sharks. Timothy Liljegren, by the way, or Tim Liljegren, as he likes to be called now, has been healthy scratch. You're playing the Sharks. So a couple winnable games coming up as well where you can stay on top of the Panthers, I think.
Yeah, they need to, though. We've seen them lose these, I'm going to call them trap games. I mean, the game against the Sharks, like they just need to win these actual games. And I mean, now they're, again, they are, I believe, so now they're 3 points ahead of the Panthers. They no longer have any games in hand. However, the Panthers are currently, I guess they'll have one game in hand because Panthers are currently up on the Predators. So they'll probably by the end of the night have one game in hand and still be up by 1 point. But if they would have lost tonight or even got 1 point, they wouldn't have been atop the Atlantic Division, which is all that really matters right now as it pertains to the regular season alongside health and things like that, which we're really, really hoping they're able to stay healthy. That's like the biggest thing right now because we know that there is a big there's a big trade deadline coming. It's going to be a huge one from what we can see, and the Leafs are definitely going to be very involved in it.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, everything we've heard, somebody said in the chat a little while ago, forgive me, I don't remember your username, but any trades coming? Yes, there's a trade is going to come. We don't know exactly who it's going to be at this point in time, but we also heard that there's 2 teams that were kicking tires on both Shen brothers to acquire both Shen brothers. There's no way that one of those teams was not the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that's definitely, first of all, because they know Luke Shen. He played here twice already. And second of all, because Braden Shen obviously played with Craig Berube. So there's no way that isn't the Toronto Maple Leafs. We heard that. Obviously, Mikko Rantanen's in the mix. That is very real, by the way. Very real possibility, I think, at this point still. That he gets moved at this year's trade deadline. And obviously Scott Lawton's still in the mix. But I think that the Leafs are, from everything I've heard the last week, they still want a second line center. They still want a top end player. So we'll see what happens. But I think as we get closer to the deadline, they're probably going to pivot their plans a little bit because it's going to be hard to acquire a player like that right now.
It's been quiet on the Scott Lawton front. The Shen, Mikko Rantanen train has been a bit hotter as of late. And again, we'll keep you up to date. I mean, the Shen thing, it's becoming a little bit almost too realistic here for a moment. For those asking Jim, not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure where Jim is. I'm sure he's
Not sure.
Sure he's all good. Hopefully he's all good.
Hopefully he is good. We saw him last stream. He called in last stream. It was nice to hear from him, but do not know where he is tonight. But yeah, I think that Nick was asking, do you think the Leafs trades will happen before the March 7th deadline? I do believe that they're going to happen next week. I don't think that they're going to wait for the trade deadline, but I don't think it's going to happen early per se. Like, I think it's going to happen closer to the deadline. You get more guys are worth less, their deals, and you have more to spend the closer you are to the deadline. So I think that they're going to wait a couple days before, but I don't think they're going to wait till the actual, like, I don't know if the Leafs are going to make a significant trade like the day of the deadline or a couple hours before the deadline. It's going to happen before, as we saw like a couple of years ago, but they might make like some minor deals heading into the deadline. But again, I think they're going to do it. They're going to wait a little bit still. I think next week at some point, probably early next week.
Thank you, Jay. Watch all your trade videos. Yeah, Jim's good. I know he's dealing with some family stuff as well, so hopefully, I'm sure he'll be back soon there. Well, let's get into our 3 stars. Let's get into our 3 stars tonight. Again, a fantastic one. It's an interesting point of the season now. We're in between the deadline and the playoffs. It's going to be very interesting. We'll start with your 3 stars, Darius, before we wrap up here.
So my 3rd star tonight, I didn't even put him on my 3 stars list last game. It's going to be Nick Robertson. He had another strong game, and he had a nice goal to tie the game. So it's going to be Nick Robertson, my 3rd star.
My 3rd star of the night's going to be OEL. Stepped up big in the absence of Chris Tanev there, and really good at driving offensive play tonight.
Yeah, OEL is my 2nd star. He was fantastic tonight in the absence of Chris Tanev. And not only that, he dragged the boys back into the fight. You like to see your captain do that. Jeff O'Neill was talking about that on the panel. You like to see somebody drag the boys into the fight. OEL did exactly that, and then they did come back into the fight. So he is my 2nd star tonight. Great game from OEL.
My 2nd star is going to go to Nick Robertson. Fantastic game. I've been a hater of his a little bit. I think that he has really stepped it up lately, and ultimately, he has been fantastic. My 1st star, I'm going to take over for a second just so we can keep it even. Morgan Riley. Pontus Holmberg,
I'm going to go with my 1st star because he was in and around it all night. Mitch Marner. I'm going to go Mitch Marner for my 1st star. I think that he was constantly trying to make things happen. I think at times, yes, he did look lost in the defensive zone. But honestly, like, I thought that he had a pretty strong game in terms of he didn't really give up, right? Like, they just kept kind of going. He was trying to score, and then he ended up getting that power play, by the way. Still looks horrible. Still looks awful. But Mitch Marner is my 1st star. I thought that he was trying at least to make things happen all night, and then he gets a nice winner there.
I thought we were going to get a shootout for once. I thought we were going to get one there. Blake with the 279. I don't like Robertson, but he had a good game. Yeah, I mean, I got to give him credit where it's due. He had a fantastic game tonight. He's had a fantastic little run there. But ladies and gentlemen,
honorable mention as well, just to cut you off, Nick, has to be Stolarz. Honorable mention for sure. I think a lot of guys played really well tonight, but Stolarz, I think, gave them a chance to win. You could argue is probably his 2nd worst game of the season statistically, but he did give them a chance to win. So
Marner for sure, gentlemen. Marner for sure. I think Nick Robertson's probably still as good as gone, realistically. I don't think there's a world where they keep
Robertson for $4 million. Which Robertson? Jason? Maybe
he is having Nick is having a surge. Need to change out the personnel and power play. When I agree, whether they go, they're running the 5 forwards. Even the 3-on-3 in overtime was a little bit dusty for a while. Matthews looked a little bit gassy. He just didn't look like himself, and he hasn't for a while. But it is what it is. It's a great game.
The polite play 1 unit needs to be rejigged, I think, at this point. It does seem to me like it's the personnel at this point.
Ladies and gentlemen, fantastic stream. We're also 10 likes away from 50 if you want to hit that on your way out. We'll be back for the next game all the way through till the end of the season. We'll have multiple videos for you coming tomorrow. There's a lot of news to break down. Thank you to each and every one of you who did tune in. Your guys' support has been very, very good. Fantastic. And we'll see you in tomorrow's video, and hopefully the Leafs can continue to roll into Friday night's game.
Digest your daily dose of gold. Stories of the bold where legends are told. From first pop drop to the season's full. Tune in and watch the drama unfold.